Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling, and thanks for swinging by the channel to watch the video today. And guys, today I want to have a little bit of conversation about things they do not teach you on YouTube about bass fishing, things they don't teach you hardly anywhere about bass fishing that are really important and really critical to success. So I've got some things that, have worked for me and I've identified over the past 30 or 40 years in fishing that really helps me catch a lot more fish you don't hear people talking about. So we're going to get into that in today's episode here. Before we get started, guys, real quick reminder, December is start of jerkbait month, in my opinion. And when you start getting into December and January, the bass like a little bit smaller jerkbait. I want to let you guys, show you guys one of my favorite December jerkbaits, and this is the Megabass 110 plus 1 Junior. This is about a 20% smaller size than the traditional 110. It's got a little bit deeper lip on it. It'll run about 10-pound test line on 6-pound test fluorocarbon. So guys, if you want to catch a bunch of fish on a jerkbait in December, especially if you have water clarity over 3 feet, try this 110 plus 1 Junior here. I'll put it in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video, a link to the 110 plus 1 Junior link. And it's just deadly, man. I catch a bunch of fish on it, especially if you got a lake that's got a mix of largemouth, spotted bass, and smallmouth in it. So wanted to let you guys know that. Okay, what is this? I say, what are they not teaching you on YouTube? What are they not teaching you overall in bass fishing that is critical to success? Now, when you start getting into this realm that I'm talking about here, there's a lot of people that lose interest in it because part of human nature is people want instant gratification and they want something now and they want something here, and a lot of people don't want to put effort into it. That's why some of the most popular YouTube videos for bass fishing are like a new secret color or a new secret lure, something like that, because it gives the angler this perception that it's going to be instant reward and instant gratification. Okay, one of the things that they do not teach you on YouTube, bass fishing YouTube videos, they don't teach you in books, they don't teach you anything, is the instinctual, primal, just the raw, creative aspect of bass fishing in terms of things that you can't define about decisions that you make on the water. So your instincts and your intuitions and all the skills we have within the human species that allows us to survive on this planet for millions of years that we have, this is critical to it. This is something that ancient man had for a long time. They had primal instincts and they had intuition and instincts that guided them. You can do the same thing to bass fishing. So what I want to do is I want to explain to you guys exactly how you can use this to help you catch more fish. And I can assure you, it's like when you talk about things that help you catch more bass, I can tell you about, you're going to catch more bass on a Megabass Vision 10 plus 1 Junior, but, you're going to catch more bass, but that improvement is going to be smaller than if you make those big leaps, like with working on your instincts and your intuition and your imagination and your creativity in bass fishing. That's what I'm saying. You're going to make small incremental jumps in your success with certain types of bass fishing advice. Most of the bass fishing advice on YouTube tips, you're going to grow at a snail's pace, but if you focus on what I'm talking about here, about these instincts and intuitions, you're going to grow at a tremendous leap and bound over it. Here's what you have to have. One of the foremost things that you have to remember as a bass angler is your own creativity and your own uniqueness as a bass angler. Because this creativity and this uniqueness is going to allow you to try approaches and things that other people will not try because it's unique to yourself. So let's say, for example, you and I go fishing and we say, okay, you're with me and you say, okay, Randy, you got 3 hours. We're gonna fish this long stretch of grass right here. There's gonna be lily pads or hydrilla or whatever on it. You're gonna fish it for 3 hours, and then I'm gonna fish it for 3 hours. You're gonna be in the boat for 3 hours, and you're gonna sit back and watch me, and then I'm gonna fish it for 3 hours, and you're gonna watch me. The approach that each one of us use is going to be different. You may pick a different lure profile, a different lure color. We both might be throwing a lipless crankbait, but you may be working yours a little bit different. Your casting angle is a little bit different. Your boat positioning is different. And the way that you approach that piece of water is unique to yourself, because you're the only one that can really, formulate that in your own mind. And sometimes what you're going to do is going to work, and sometimes what I'm going to do is work. But you have to realize that you have this individuality to you that's going to allow you to have some creativity that nobody else has. That's your superpower right there. Now, above that, you have to hone. Sorry guys, I'm getting over a cold right now. You have to you have to hone your instincts and your intuitions. And as my channel's name, Intuitive Angling, that's one of the reasons I named it Intuitive Angling, is because how important intuition is in fishing. Is the only way that you hone intuition and instincts is by doing it and being aware of it and practicing it. There are some people out there, and I've been around in bass fishing, that don't think it makes a crap. They go, oh, bullshit on instincts and intuition. The bass is stupid, and if you throw a spinnerbait by stump, they're going to hit it. Guys, I feel sorry for you if you feel like that, because on a high level, when you're talking about performing at your maximum potential as an angler, you have to integrate intuition and instincts. Every other sport does it. I can promise you, you talk to Tiger Woods in golf, or you talk to Jack Nicklaus, or you talk to any professional athlete, and they will tell you about instincts and intuition. It's an undefinable quality, but one of the things that you have to do is you have to understand how to implement it in your fishing. Now, the way that you do that is a couple different things. You have to have little bitty successes. And the way that you do that is, say, for example, you're fishing down a bank and you're not catching much. A lot of times what happens is like, okay, man, I'm not catching them. It's like, I got to do something different. Maybe I need to try this perch pattern crankbait. I haven't tried a perch pattern. Maybe I need to try it instead of the shad pattern. And you keep fishing, and 15 minutes later, you're still fishing the shad pattern crankbaits. You thought about you had a flash in your mind about putting on this perch pattern, but you just dismissed it. A little bit too much work. I don't want to get down the bottom of the boat. I don't want to have to dig through my tackle box and retie a perch pattern crankbait on, and maybe I'm missing a hook on my perch pattern crankbait. I don't want to mess with it. If you have a idea that comes to you, that pops in your mind, you have to immediately act on that, because that is your body and that is part of your being telling you it's trying to give you information. And you have to do that. You can't dismiss it. And I'm not saying it works every time, but a lot of times it does. And what happens after you act on this time after time and time again, and you see the results are undeniable in the successes that you have versus the failures, it gives you more confidence. It's the same way about, say for example, you're fishing down that rocky bank, and you're back in, the back part of a creek fishing a rocky bank, and maybe you're catching one here and now, but you're not catching much, and you go, man, I know there's another rocky bank 5 miles down the lake. It looks just like this. And you keep fishing and you don't make that run. You have to act on those instincts immediately. Don't second guess yourself, because if you do this, let's say in the course of a year, you act on your instincts. You have 100 different instincts that come to you as fishing, and you act on them, every single time. Probably about 75% of the time, your instincts are going to be right. That is our innate intelligence as human beings trying to communicate with us. And the way that you get this is you have a feeling that comes in your solar plex that either affirms that or doesn't. So let's say, for example, you're fishing down your rocky bank and you're not catching anything, and you're thinking about this other spot that you want to go fishing down the lake. You're thinking about it. It's like, okay, do I need to do this? Do I need to stay here? I'm catching a few fish here, but maybe I can catch more over there. This is when you have to pay attention to how your body feels through your solar plex area. Like, take a deep breath and think about how it feels to stay where you're at. It's like, how's it going to feel to stay here? And then do the same thing. How's it going to feel if you make this run to this other place? And go with the instinct that feels best to you. It's like, okay, I've decided I'm going to make this run. Feels good to me. I feel good about the decision, and do it. And that is how you build confidence in yourself for your instincts and your intuition. And there's one other thing with that, and this is a lot hard. It's a lot easier said than done because it takes effort to do that, and it's something that you can't intellectualize. There's no reason why you should make that move other than how you feel internally about it. You can't intellectualize and say, okay, I'm going to go here because the water clarity is 6 inches, and maybe where I go over here, the water clarity is going to be 7.5 inches. You can't intellectualize this. It comes from an internal feeling. Finally, the other thing, we could go on all day about this, but I'm just trying to give you some good foundational tips, is you have to play mental games with yourself. And you have to visualize, which is a cliche a lot of people use, but you have to pretend that something is going to happen that you want to happen in fishing, and you have to feel what that's going to be like. And let me explain to you guys what I'm talking about, because I've used this example before. And I do this all the time. It doesn't work all the time, but it usually works more than not. It's one of those things that usually works, 60, 70% of the time. I was at a tournament at Kentucky Lake in Kentucky Lake, and I was fishing way south on the lake, about 60 miles south of the lake. And it was the last day of the tournament, and I was doing fairly good in the tournament. And going out that last day of the tournament, I felt that I needed to catch probably about 12 or 13 pounds, not only to make a check in the tournament, but to qualify for the championship that I was trying to qualify for. So I ran down there and I'm fishing all day long. I don't have a long day. I've only got, 5 or 6 hours to fish at the most. And I've only got 4 fish and it's time to leave, but I've only got like 10 pounds, maybe 11. I know I don't have enough fish to make a check. I know I don't have enough fish to make a cut. I know I need one more because, even if I catch a 2-pounder, that's going to give me 12 or 13 pounds. And I calculated everything up. That's going to get me where I need it. I'm out of time. I've got to run back. And I know one spot, there's one little bitty rocky outcrop right close to the weigh-in area where I've caught fish before. And I start running back. It's a 60-mile run back. And the whole run out there, the whole run back, the only thing that I'm thinking about the entire way is I pictured myself pulling up on this little point, throwing my shaky head over there, catching a nice keeper, going to be my 5th fish, and I'm going to everything's going to be fine. I'm going to accomplish what I need. And I started playing a mental game with myself, feeling what that's going to feel like. It's like, okay, how's it going to feel? It's like I'm going to throw up on this point. I'm going to work that shaky head. I'm going to feel a bite. I'm going to set the hook. And I play this game with me. It's like I imagine how that was going to feel, and I imagine me fighting the fish, getting the fish in the boat. I imagine opening up the live well, putting that fish in the live well, and running to the weigh-in. And I felt how that emotionally that would make me feel, how happy that would make me feel. I did that for an entire hour running to the spot. I pull up to the spot. When I get there, I've got like 5 minutes left to fish. My co-angler throws out there and catches a nice keeper. And he's fighting the fish, and he gets the fish in the boat, and I'm casting to the point, and the 3rd cast I made to that point, I got a strike, I set the hook, 2.5-pound bass, put it in the live well just like I'd imagined, ran to weigh in, made a check, made the championship. Now, I'm not saying this doesn't work all the time, but it's worked enough for me that that's how I fish. And this is one of the things that I'm talking about that they will not teach you on YouTube bass fishing channels. They will not teach you in any bass fishing realm. But it is a reality of the situation. So just a little piece of high metaphysical advice there, guys. Give that a try. It's real. If you don't believe me, ask Rick Clunn. He'll tell you the same thing. If you don't believe me, ask any high-performing athlete. They'll tell you the same thing to some extent there. So hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.